This is six-time IFBB Bikini Pro Champion Brina Martinez, and I take ZMA5 to make sure that I get the zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6 needed to keep my immune system healthy and snap strong.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Villegas being joined with Andrew Moloney, who's back home in Australia. And we were just talking off camera in quarantine still in a random hotel room. Man, I know it's been a long time since you've seen your family. So you're stuck in this hotel room.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been away from my family for 9 weeks now and just really can't wait to get home and see my wife and my son. My son's only 15 months old. So I've got 10 days left before I'm allowed out of this hotel quarantine. And then finally I'll be able to see them again.
Man, what have you been doing those I guess days that you've been in this hotel room?
It's extremely boring. You're not allowed out the room at all. They don't even give you a swipe card. Um, so I'm just counting down the minutes. Been doing a lot of interviews about this fight, obviously. But yeah, other than that, just watching the time go by and just counting down the minutes so I can see my family.
Yeah, this is the first because usually fighters can't stand doing interviews. Like it's not one of the highlights of their days, but because of your situation, I think I'm bringing
Yeah,
some sort of a
yeah,
color to your day.
that's right. That's right. Someone to talk to. It's been good.
Man, well, I would imagine then, given the time that you've had there in the hotel room, you've had plenty of time to think over the things that happened with your rematch with Franco, right?
Yeah, absolutely. After the fight, I couldn't sleep for like maybe 2 or 3 days, just playing it over and over in my head and just trying to work out how this happened. I still can't believe it, to be honest.
Well, there's been some time now, and the Nevada Commission has made their official ruling. What do you make now that it seems that the decision is final? We've had time to really see how they've handled the situation, and they've given their reasoning as to why they handled the situation they did. What do you think about how they handled it?
Well, hopefully this isn't the final decision. My team and our lawyer, Josh Dubin, are appealing the case. And I believe that we have a very strong case, especially with some of the new video footage that we have, which is from different camera angles than they showed on the TV broadcast. And from these camera angles, it's very clear that the damage was done from a punch. And there was certainly no head clash that caused any sort of damage to his right eye. So I hope they look over this appeal that we have and the decision can possibly be overturned.
Have you heard any indications as to when they're gonna come to a final decision then on all that based on this new video that you're bringing to them?
We haven't heard yet. We're waiting to hear from them and hopefully have a hearing with the Nevada Commission where we can put forward our case. But I've left that all to my team at the moment. I'll let them look after it all, and hopefully the right thing happens and they can overturn this decision. But either way, at the moment, my focus is just on this third fight with Joshua Franco. Even if they do overturn the decision in my favor, I still want to have this third fight and just to get rid of any doubt that I'm the deserving champion.
Yeah, I would imagine that'd be the natural thing to do for both you guys because obviously there's people on your side that feel that the decision was wrong, that the swelling from the eye was caused from one of your jabs, and the headbutt it didn't cause that, and then there's Franco's team that Robert Garcia was very vocal in feeling that they felt that it was from a headbutt. So I think it's a natural thing. Now, have you heard that that's the plan, that it is going to in fact happen a third fight?
That's definitely the plan. That's what we're working on at the moment. Um, Bob Arum and Top Rank are very keen, and also myself, extremely keen to have this third fight in Australia where
Oh, wow. In
things are getting back to,
Australia.
yeah, well, things are getting back to normal over here and we can have large crowds at sporting events. So hopefully we can have that third fight here in Australia and have a big audience here and put on a really great event like they did, similar to Horn and Pacquiao. They had nearly 60,000 people in the stadium here. There's been talk about possibly Teofimo Lopez coming over and fighting an Australian fighter, George Kambosos. And maybe we can do it on the same card and put on a huge event like that.
Yeah, because I was gonna get to the point that like I would imagine you won't want to have a third fight in Vegas again, given what happened with all this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've come over to America twice now to take Franco on. I think it's only fair that we maybe have the third one in Australia.
Do you have any reservations for future fights in Las Vegas, or is it more or less like a case by case basis at this point?
I've been asked this before, and it's a tough one. Like, I still can't believe what happened to me, and the decision wasn't overturned in my favor. I think the video footage that they saw on the night was clear enough that the jabs that I threw and the punches landed on his eye were what caused the damage. But either way, I still do want to fight in Las Vegas going forward. It was a dream of mine for so many years to fight in Las Vegas, the mecca of boxing. And, you know, growing up and coming up the ranks in Australia, that's what we always look at, the pinnacle of the sport, fighting in Las Vegas. And I still certainly want to fight there in my career. I just hope that something like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something that I think every fighter doesn't want for it to happen. They don't want something outside of their control to end up deciding their fights.
Yeah, that's right. And I put so much into that last training camp. It was a 5-month training camp where I just gave it absolutely everything I had and did everything I could to win that world title back. And on the night, I felt better than ever. I was on fire in those first 2 rounds, and I believe I would have continued to dominate that fight. And yes, unfortunately, this situation occurred.
Have you had a chance to speak to Franco? Has he reached out to you, or you reached out to him, or anything like that?
No, I haven't had any communication with Franco. I don't know whether he actually thinks that there was a head clash, but I think he's happy to do the third fight. I certainly am. So we'll settle it in the third fight.
Looking at this fight as well, you know, you just seem so much more on point this time around. It was a completely different start from you than the first fight. It kind of, in a way, seemed like a role reversal, because in the first fight, he was the guy that was pressuring, coming forward, really trying to bring the fight to you. And in the rematch, it was you. You were the more active when you started out more earlier than him. You started putting on him. You know, talk to me about that adjustment and what was the biggest reason as to why you felt you had so much success in this rematch?
I was just so determined. I wanted that belt back more than anything, and I'd had the best training camp of my career, of my life, and was in the best shape I've ever been in, and just really confident that I could get the job done, and so determined to show everyone around the world that I am a much better fighter than I showed in that first fight. That first fight was a terrible performance for myself, and I just really wanted to put it right and to show everyone that I'm a much better fighter than that.
Why was it so bad in your opinion? Like what contributed to that first time around?
A lot of things. During the fight, it sounds like an excuse and I hate bringing it up, but both my ears were perforated early on in that first fight, and my balance just wasn't there. I had no sort of strength in my legs, and no strength and no power in my punches because of that. And I just really felt like I was nowhere near at my best and performed terribly. And that just gave me so much more motivation coming into the second fight to show that that's not me and that I'm a much better fighter than that.
Yeah, how's it like to deal with an injury like that? Because I would imagine it felt like you were on like quicksand or like on a boat, because for those fans that don't know, when you get hit in the ear, there's liquid in there and it really throws off your balance. Like at times you can't even like keep your feet on the ground. You feel like you're rocking back and forth on a boat. How was that process to deal with that during the fight and also recovering from something like that?
Yeah, that's right. And I'd had my ears perforated before in previous fights, but never has it affected my balance like it did in this fight. And I just tried to get through that fight and do what I could to still win. And it ended up being a close fight in the end, but unfortunately, I lost my balance and was knocked down in the 11th round, which ended up costing me the fight. And again, in that situation, I wasn't badly hurt. I just lost my balance, touched my gloves on the canvas, and obviously was called a knockdown, which is rightfully so. But it was just frustrating on my behalf because I wasn't that hurt. It was just a case of not being able to stay upright. And yeah, it was a tough thing to go through. I almost managed to pull it off. It was a close fight in the end, but yeah, just didn't quite get the job done. And that's why I was just so determined, again, just to show in this second fight that I am much better than that.
How do you recover from something like that? Is it like a normal recovery, or is it there's some like weird things associated with recovering from something like that?
No, you just got to let it recover naturally. And thankfully they recovered great. And I had no problems with them at all in the last training camp and the last fight. So touch wood, that's in the past now.
What do you make of the response from this fight? And, you know, your countrymen really, really went out on social media to cry about, not cry, that's the wrong word, I meant cry like the cry, like, hey, like that. Sorry. Okay, I just got to make sure. You know, I saw a thing like from, I believe, like Helen Mirren that said something about the fight. You know, what do you make of all the feedback from this?
Yeah, that's right. On social media was just crazy. The amount of support I received after the fight from, some really big names, Helen Mirren, Joe Rogan, LL Cool J,
Oh, wow.
and many others, all reaching out and showing their support, and thousands of messages too, like private messages to me, just saying to me that I'm the real champion and to keep my head up. So that's made things a little bit easier, and I really appreciate it.
Did you talk to any of them? Did you message Helen, Joe, any of those people, LL?
I messaged him back and said thank you, but
Yeah.
they're obviously don't get messages all day, so I don't expect them to get back to me.
That's something I would have screenshot though, for sure. Like, hey, look who just messaged me, Helen Mirren.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a good memory to look back on at the end of my career, that's for sure.
You know, with the third fight, you mentioned maybe to be on this card that's gonna showcase Teofimo Lopez and Cambosis. That's obviously going to be in the first quarter of 2021, right? Somewhere around February or March.
I think we're looking at April.
Okay.
Yeah, but anywhere around that time, I'll obviously be ready. It was a very quick night's work last weekend, so I'm ready to fight again now. But yeah, somewhere around April is the date we're aiming for, and hopefully my twin brother Jason will also be on the card and have a big fight. Hopefully again for a world title, but they're still working on that too.
Yeah, you know, let me touch on your twin brother, man. How was it for you to be there with him to see what happened in the Inoue fight?
Yeah, we were obviously, devastated that he didn't get the outcome that we thought he would, but we went into that fight confident that he could get the job done. But at the same time, he took on a very special fighter, pound for pound top 3 in the sport, and he dared to be great and took on someone that many other fighters are running away from. So he came up short this time, but it's, as I said, I don't think there's any shame in losing to a guy like Inoue.
No, yeah, you could totally. People are afraid to fight him. First off, so this is big ups for to your brothers. What to take a challenge, one that not a lot of people want to take. How is he handling the loss? Is he good?
Yeah, no, he's good. He's devastated that he didn't get the outcome, but he's a true fighter. He woke up the next day and said, damn, I want to fight him again. I know I can beat him. And that's just how he is. And, that's what we both want. We want to take on the best fighters and, not duck and dodge people like a lot of these fighters are doing these days and try and protect their records. We want to take on the best and test ourselves and see how good we can be.
My dad's a twin. And I know growing up that he's vastly, vastly different personality-wise from his twin, from my uncle. How is it with you guys? Are you guys similar or completely different outside of all this?
Nah, we're actually really similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've got all the same interests, same group of friends, same taste in everything. Like, if we won't even be living with each other, and we'll show up somewhere and we're both wearing the exact same clothes. It's just, I don't know. We just got the same taste in things. Yeah, we're very similar.
That's crazy because that's not normal for twins.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange, but sometimes we'll show up to events and we're like, "You're gonna have to go home and get changed. This is embarrassing."
Yeah, doing that still at the age that you guys are at.
Yeah, almost 30 now. Haven't grown out of it.
Growing up, they would play a lot of pranks on me. One time my dad pranked me that he built a robot, and like I was in disbelief, like I couldn't believe it. Do you guys ever play pranks on people, past girlfriends, wives, anything like that?
Yeah, we used to sort of try and prank people. Even back in like preschool, mum would always dress me in red and my brother in blue. And like we'd go into their change rooms and change our clothes and pretend we're the opposite person all day and try and confuse people. In school, I'd go into his classroom and he'd go into mine and we'd spend the whole day in each other's class, but just trying to prank people, but just all lighthearted stuff.
Yeah, that's real cool, man. This third fight, do you see it being, I don't want to say an easier fight, but now that you're this much more familiar with them, do you see it not as a difficult thing to figure out with the style that he presents the third time around now?
We'll see. I know that I think this fight, he maybe came in too confident, overlooking me. Maybe expected it to be similar to the way he finished the first fight. So I expect him this time around to maybe be more hungry and more determined to show better from himself. But I'm going to be just as hungry to get this world title back, and it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, I was going to say, you came in very, very good the second time around. Do you make any adjustments, or do you feel pretty confident that you have the right approach to a third fight now?
Yeah, I know what I have to do to beat Franco. And I only just was getting started in that fight. It was obviously only 2 rounds down, but I was just getting into my rhythm. And yeah, I'm very confident that I've got what it takes and know what to do to beat him.
I know this sounds cliche, but we got to ask the question, if you get past this third fight, you end up getting your title back. There's a lot of other big names in your division, but what's one name that really sticks out that you feel that you can't finish your career, that you have to have that name on your resume?
I don't know. Like at the moment, my focus is just so much on Franco and just winning this third fight, winning the world title back. And then I'll leave it up to my team what they want to do after that. But certainly I look forward to getting my world title back. And then next year, it would be definitely a goal of mine to unify against one of the other champions. And whoever we can make that happen with, I'll be happy. But it's certainly a goal of mine to become a unified champion.
There's no one that sticks out for you at all, though, that not even just calling out that you look at and it really gets your competitive juices going?
Well, the super flyweight division is stacked at the moment. There's plenty of big names and big fights out there. So, look forward to being in many of the big fights in the future. Obviously, Chocolatito, Estrada, Rungvisai, whoever wins his WBO title against Ioka and Tanaka on December 31st. I'd love to take on any of these guys.
I think for me as a fight fan, you and Gallo or you and Roman would be a very, very excellent fight. And hopefully they're able to fight soon as well. Because, if you're successful, you have a title, obviously your guys' courses are going to end up meeting each other at some point.
Yeah, that's right. I hope those two do fight. Their first fight was a great fight. I'm a fan of the sport as well. They're both great fighters, and yeah, that'd be a great fight. Chocolatito Estrada number 2. Hopefully they can make that happen. And yeah, I'd love to take on either one of those guys. And also I should throw in there, Jerwin Carras, he's the IBF champion and he's signed with Top Rank. So that's certainly a fight we can make in the future.
It's certainly going to be an interesting night. That's for sure. Hey, Andrew, man, it was good catching up with you. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do you have any last messages that you want to go ahead and let the American fight fans know and the worldwide fight fans know to end this interview?
No, just thank you everyone as I said, from around the world for your amazing support. I really appreciate it and hope you all tune into the trilogy fight against Franco. It's certainly going to be a great fight and I look forward to getting my world title back. And thank you for having me on the show, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it. That was Andrew Moloney joining us via Zoom from his favorite place in the world, his hotel room that he's been quarantined for the past few days. Andrew, thank you so much. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.